Hi, and welcome to Roadside Notes. I'm Christopher, the Route 66 Chaplain, and these are readings from the Faith and Good Courage Journal found at faithandgoodcourage.com. These are stories from the road and for the road, a little grace for the miles ahead, and reminders that hope still travels with us. This is Rule 66, Kindness Born of a Mother's Love. It's heard New Year's Day 2026. So let's face facts. Rule 66 never began as a campaign or a slogan. It began with my mother. Her lessons came from an ordinary kitchen that always smelled of percolated coffee that she ground with a bright red hand-cranked coffee grinder. That space became my first classroom. I learned more about life at that table than any textbook ever taught me. That's where she showed me how to treat people, when to hold my tongue, and how to live with grace even when life was messy. She would often say, "Think before you speak." I still remember rolling my eyes, thinking this was just about good manners. But later I learned it was about mercy. She wanted me to take a breath before I answered so my words would heal instead of harm. I still hear her voice whenever I sit down to write a journal or sit in front of this microphone in my home studio. Her voice is the checkpoint before I speak, reminding me to slow down and think it through. Mom had a gift of humor that carried truth in it. People often ask me, where do I find my wit and that odd backward humor I have? It's all her. She could make you laugh while slipping a sermon between your chuckles. She believed she could tell hard truth and still make people feel safe when hearing it. Agreed, a son and his mother's love has a rhythm all of its own. She didn't just raise me, she shaped me in how I talk to the world. When I was young, I complained that I didn't have kids' canvas shoes like all my friends in school. She just looked at me as I stood there in my black and white Alphabeta grocery store high tops, the only pair she could afford to buy me as a single mother. And she softly said, "I once complained I had no shoes until I met a man that had no feet." That kind of stopped me cold. Gratitude settled in that day and has never left. She was teaching me to see what others carry instead of what I lack. That lesson still drives Rule 66 because it reminds me to look outward before I speak about myself. I remember I got this dream job at the Copper Penny restaurant. I really tried hard to get it, and once I was there, it was horrible. Nothing like I thought it would be. When I told her I quit and the reason why, she said, "You know, you'll love eating sausage until you see it being made." I laughed simply because, well, it sounded food-related. But later, I understood. She was talking about grace. It looks neat when it's served, but it's messy in the making behind the scenes. Kindness works the same way. It takes patience and humility to make it real. Rule 66 sounds simple when I say, leave people better than you found them. It only becomes hard when someone tests that patience or pride. That's when her words return. Choose decency when it costs you something. Over time, her sayings turned into my compass, what I now call Rule 66. Before I post, preach, or tell a story, I stop and ask questions to keep me honest. Kindness in action. Does this show compassion through action, not just words? Independent thinking. Does this encourage thought instead of telling people what to think? And lift the spirit. Will someone walk away a little lighter, wiser, or more hopeful? Now, those questions keep me steady. They make sure the miles I travel, both on the highway and through conversation, are not wasted. They remind me that every word has weight, and I decide whether that weight lands like a stone or like a hand reaching out to help. She never called it a rule. She just lived it. Her kindness didn't ask for applause, and her humor softened edges that may have cut. Every story I tell on Faith and Good Courage rests on her foundation. She showed me that strength can whisper, that listening is sometimes the loudest form of love, and that silence can say what anger never will. In my roadside reflection, these days I pray that others find their own version of Rule 66. It may not wear the same name, but the heart of it is the same. She's been gone more than 40 years now, yet her words still echo. Mom never needed a pulpit. She shared more gospel at that kitchen table than most sermons inside of a church. Her words built the road I'm traveling. My wish is that her wisdom finds you too. Take a breath before you speak. Offer grace before you argue. Never let someone leave you hungry. And lift the spirit before you leave the room. That's the direction of Rule 66, and it still points me home. Travel well, my friends. Have faith and good courage.